In 2008, the world's most respected car company faced a nightmare that seemed impossible. For decades, Toyota had been the gold standard of manufacturing. Business schools taught its methods. Competitors copied its systems. Investors admired its discipline. Then, almost overnight, the machine stopped working. Sales collapsed. Factories slowed. Profits vanished. And for the first time in generations, Toyota reported a loss so large that many wondered whether the company had lost its edge forever. But this story is not really about cars. It's about what happens when a company becomes too successful, too confident, and too dependent on a world that suddenly changes. More importantly, it's about a decision made years before the crisis. One that would eventually save Toyota while many competitors struggled to survive. Because when the global economy entered its darkest moment, Toyota discovered a painful truth. Even the best-run company in the world is never immune to risk. Toyota's origins were surprisingly humble. The company traces its roots to the early 20th century when the Toyota family built textile machinery in Japan. The automotive business began almost as an experiment. In the 1930s, Japan's automobile industry barely existed. American companies dominated global car production. Few believed a Japanese manufacturer could compete. Yet Toyota's leaders saw an opportunity. Rather than copying Western manufacturers exactly, they developed a different philosophy. Instead of producing massive inventories, Toyota focused on efficiency. Instead of hiding problems, Toyota encouraged workers to expose them. Instead of maximizing short-term output, Toyota optimized the entire production system. Over decades, these principles evolved into what became known as the Toyota Production System. The system transformed manufacturing. Factories around the world attempted to imitate it. Consultants built careers explaining it. Business schools created case studies around it. By the early 2000s, Toyota had become one of the most admired companies on earth. Its vehicles were known for reliability. Its operations were known for efficiency. Its management was known for discipline. And its growth appeared unstoppable. Year after year, Toyota expanded into new markets. New factories opened. New models launched. Global demand continued rising. Everything seemed to be working. But hidden beneath the success was a growing vulnerability, one that very few people noticed. Success creates pressure. When a company becomes a global leader, expectations rise. Investors expect growth. Executives expect expansion. Markets expect dominance. Toyota was no exception. Throughout the early 2000s, the company pursued aggressive global growth. The goal was ambitious. Toyota wanted to become the largest automaker in the world. For decades, that title belonged to General Motors. But Toyota believed it could surpass the American giant. The race intensified. Factories were built across multiple continents. Production capacity increased. Hiring accelerated. Product lines expanded. The strategy worked. Toyota's market share climbed steadily. In 2008, the company achieved a historic milestone. Toyota became the world's largest automaker. It was a moment of celebration, but it arrived at exactly the wrong time. Because another crisis was already forming. Not inside Toyota. Inside the global economy itself. For years, cheap credit had fueled consumer spending. Banks lent aggressively. Housing markets soared. Debt accumulated across financial systems. Then the bubble burst. Major financial institutions collapsed. Credit markets froze. Consumer confidence disappeared. The global financial crisis erupted. And suddenly, people stopped buying cars. Automobiles are one of the most economically sensitive products in the world. When uncertainty rises, consumers delay purchases. A new television can wait. A vacation can wait. A new vehicle can definitely wait. As fear spread through global markets, automotive demand collapsed. The speed shocked nearly everyone. Millions of consumers postponed major purchases. Dealership traffic fell. Orders vanished. Factories faced shrinking demand. Every major automaker felt the pain. Toyota was no exception. In fact, its recent expansion made the situation even more dangerous. The company had invested heavily in growth. New factories required volume. Large production networks required customers. When demand evaporated, those costs remained. Toyota suddenly found itself carrying enormous fixed expenses while sales were falling rapidly. The numbers became alarming. Revenue declined. Profits disappeared. Forecasts deteriorated. Executives faced difficult choices. Should they continue investing? Should they close factories? Should they cut workers? Should they abandon long-term plans? Many companies facing similar situations chose aggressive cost-cutting. But Toyota's leadership believed panic could create even greater damage. Instead, they focused on preserving the capabilities that had made Toyota successful in the first place. It was a risky approach, and there were no guarantees it would work. The crisis deepened throughout 2008 and 2009. Toyota reported its first operating loss in decades. The result shocked investors. For years, Toyota had seemed almost invincible. Now headlines around the world questioned whether the company's best days were over. Analysts criticized expansion decisions. Competitors celebrated Toyota's difficulties. Inside the company, morale suffered. Employees who had spent their careers experiencing growth suddenly faced uncertainty. Factories operated below capacity. Production schedules were reduced. Demand forecasts continued falling. The situation became even more painful because Toyota's reputation had been built on excellence. When an average company struggles, people expect it. When an industry leader struggles, people ask deeper questions. Had Toyota become too large? Had management become complacent? Had the famous Toyota production system reached its limits? For the first time in years, critics had ammunition, and the pressure kept building. Yet something remarkable happened. Toyota began benefiting from decisions made long before the crisis. For decades, the company had embraced an unusually conservative financial philosophy. While many corporations prioritized short-term optimization, Toyota focused heavily on resilience. The company maintained substantial cash reserves. Debt levels remained relatively controlled. Management consistently planned for worst-case scenarios. These practices sometimes frustrated investors seeking faster growth. But during the crisis, they became invaluable. Toyota had something many competitors lacked: time. The company could absorb losses longer than others. It could continue investing while rivals cut back. It could preserve critical capabilities rather than dismantling them. Most importantly, Toyota could focus on long-term recovery instead of short-term survival. This distinction changed everything, because economic crises eventually end, and companies that survive with their core strengths intact often emerge stronger. Toyota understood this. Rather than abandoning its foundational principles, leadership doubled down on them. Continuous improvement remained central. Employee development continued. Operational discipline stayed intact. The company endured the storm without sacrificing its identity. Just as recovery seemed possible, another major challenge emerged. Toyota became embroiled in one of the largest product recall controversies in automotive history. Reports involving unintended acceleration generated massive public attention. Millions of vehicles were recalled. Governments launched investigations. Media coverage intensified. Consumer trust came under pressure. The timing could hardly have been worse. Toyota was already dealing with financial challenges from the global recession. Now its reputation for quality faced scrutiny as well. The company that had become synonymous with reliability suddenly found itself defending its credibility. Executives appeared before lawmakers. Public apologies were issued. Engineers worked urgently to identify and address problems. Critics argued Toyota's rapid expansion had weakened quality control. Supporters claimed the company was being unfairly targeted. Regardless of perspective, the damage was real. Toyota faced simultaneous financial, operational, and reputational pressure. For many organizations, such a combination would have been devastating. Yet Toyota's response revealed another critical lesson. The company treated the crisis as a problem to solve rather than a public relations issue to manage. Investigations expanded. Processes were reviewed. Systems were strengthened. The organization focused relentlessly on learning. And slowly, trust began returning. As global economies stabilized, automotive demand gradually recovered. Consumers returned to dealerships. Production increased. Financial performance improved. Toyota regained momentum. The company continued investing in technology. Hybrid vehicles expanded globally. Operational improvements continued. Market leadership strengthened. Over time, Toyota not only recovered but re-established itself as one of the strongest automakers in the world. The crisis that once threatened its future became part of its institutional memory. A reminder that success is temporary. A reminder that growth creates risk. A reminder that resilience matters as much as efficiency. Most importantly, Toyota proved something many companies never learn. The goal of strategy is not merely maximizing performance during good times. The goal is surviving bad times, because survival creates the opportunity to win again. Today, Toyota remains one of the most influential companies in modern business history. Its production system continues shaping industries far beyond automotive manufacturing. Its management philosophy is studied globally. Its crisis response remains a valuable case study for executives, entrepreneurs, and investors. But perhaps Toyota's most important legacy comes from a paradox. The company became famous for efficiency, yet it survived because of resilience. Those are not always the same thing. Many organizations optimize for speed. Toyota learned to optimize for endurance. And when the world changed unexpectedly, endurance mattered more. Lesson 1. Growth creates new risks. Success often hides vulnerabilities. Every expansion increases complexity. Leaders must constantly ask what could go wrong. Lesson 2. Cash is strategic. Cash reserves are not merely financial assets. They are strategic options. During crises, options become priceless. Lesson 3. Don't sacrifice core strengths. When pressure rises, companies often cut the capabilities that made them successful. Toyota resisted that temptation. Lesson 4. Reputation must be protected daily. A strong reputation takes decades to build. It can be damaged much faster. Quality and trust require constant attention. Lesson 5. Resilience beats optimization. The most efficient system is not always the strongest system. Organizations built to survive uncertainty often outperform those built only for perfect conditions. When people study Toyota, they often focus on factories, efficiency, and manufacturing systems. But the most important lesson may be simpler. No company is too big to struggle. No leader is too experienced to face uncertainty. And no success story is permanent. The companies that endure are not the ones that avoid crises. They are the ones that prepare for them before anyone else sees them coming.